What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sashtavi, and today we're discussing all the books I look forward to reading in the year 2025. My god, that is insane to say. 2025? How are we here already? I'm still stuck in 2019, I feel like sometimes. Another year has flown by like no one's business, and now we're entering into 2025. I must say, I am not the best prepared to jump into the new year, but if there's one thing I'm looking forward to, it's all the new books I get to read. So let's get into it. By the way, I've been sick this entire weekend. I have the most terrible cold right now, and if you can hear it in my voice, I'm sorry. And if I look like shit right now, just look the other way, okay? It's been a tough weekend. But moving on, all the books I want to read in 2025. I'm going to be talking about new releases first, so all the new books coming out, and then I'll be talking about all the books I have on my physical TBR that I want to get to. And then I'm going to be talking about just other authors that I want to get to, series I want to complete, stuff like that. All right, let's get into it. So, starting off with new releases for 2025, the first book I'm looking forward to is, of course, Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. It's the third book in the Fourth Wing series. Super excited for that. As some of you all may know already, I've talked about it before on my channel. I love Fourth Wing. Absolutely devoured it when I first got it. Loved Iron Flame as well, contrary to popular opinion. I reread Fourth Wing all the time, and now we're finally close enough to book 3. It's coming out on Jan 26th, Jan 28th in India, as far as I know. As soon as I saw the button for pre order was available in India, I pressed it so hard. So I've pre ordered my copy a while back. Can't wait to get it. If you don't know what Fourth Wing is, somehow, if you don't know what it is, it's a fantasy series. It's a new adult fantasy series. It's about this girl. It's very Hunger Games slash Divergent style that way. It's about this war college basically with dragons in it, and about this girl who gets conscripted into this college, and everything is do or die in there. There's a sort of uprising also happening. There's an enemies to lovers plot. Very fun, honestly, super fun, especially if you're not into fantasy. I would recommend you check it out because it's a perfect book to start getting into fantasy. Yeah, love Fourth Wing, cannot wait for Onyx Storm. The next book on the list is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. Now, Ali Hazelwood is a very hit or miss author for me. I haven't read her entire catalog because I know I'm not going to be interested in most of her books that she's written. They're a little too smutty for me, and the characters are very certain type of character that I do not enjoy reading about. But the books that I have been interested, I have picked up in the past. I've read The Love Hypothesis, which I did not enjoy, and I read Check and Mate, which I really enjoyed. So my opinion on her can honestly go in either direction at this point. I don't particularly look forward to new releases from this author, but Deep End is supposed to be a swimming sports romance. And you all know how much I love sports romances. I love watching sports in general. I love watching all kinds of sports. And this year in the Olympics, one of the sports I really enjoyed watching was swimming. So I got really into it. And now that she's coming out with a sports romance, I think that is between swimming and diving both. Highly looking forward to that one. So I'm excited to also see how I feel about this one. This will be my third book by her that I read, and my opinion honestly could just go in either direction. So I look forward to it. So yeah, that's Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. It comes out in February. Next, another highly anticipated book. We have Fearless by Lauren Roberts. It's the third and the finale to the Powerless trilogy. Super excited for that, honestly. If you've been on my channel in the first half of the year, especially, you'd know how much I love Powerless. I completely got obsessed with it. Was slightly disappointed by Reckless, not gonna lie. Wasn't the best, but I did enjoy it, and I have so much love for the characters, and I just can't wait to see where this trilogy ends and how things go. So I'm really looking forward to Fearless for sure. It's the third book. Again, if you don't know what Powerless is about, it's another fantasy, more of a romantasy, especially by Reckless. It's really mostly focused on the romance and less on the plot, but it's super fun. I think the author has so much potential. It's her debut series, but she has so much potential to just create these very meaningful worlds and characters. Her writing is beautiful. It's the most beautiful romance I've ever read. So if you're into romanticities, I would highly recommend check out Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Moving on, next we've got something really exciting. We've got Watch Me by Tara Mafi. Now, Watch Me is a prequel series or a prequel trilogy set in the Shadow Me universe, and I love Shadow Me. I love Shatter Me. It's unhinged, but it's just so good. It's so fun. Shatter Me is another fan favorite series, fantasy series. If you haven't read it yet, I would highly recommend that you pick it up. And honestly, now is the right time to do so because we're getting a new book in the universe, and it's supposed to be Adam's brother. I think it's set 20 years or 10 years in the future, so the main characters that we know now are in their 30s, and that's gonna be so exciting. I am a little nervous, not gonna lie. Usually, books that pick up in a universe that has already ended and are coming out years later can sort of come out as a cash grab and don't really add anything meaningful to the story. I don't want anything to ruin my perception of the Shatter Me world and also the way we left off this world by the end of the series, the original series, um, is a little different. So I don't exactly know what we'll get in this new series because the world has changed as we know it. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to revisit all our favorite characters, but I'm also nervous about what we would find once we find them. But above everything, I think I'm just mostly just curious about the book. I'm curious to see what more she has to offer us in this world. So yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to. Watch Me, and it's coming out in April, as far as I know. I think April 2025. Next book is something I'm really excited about. And I don't know how to explain it. This book is called Immortal Consequences, and it's by this author right here. I honestly don't even really know what her name is, and I should have done my research before I started the video. That's on me. And basically, it's her debut novel. And how I came across this book is very interesting. She has been honestly a god of marketing because she has been putting out reels after reels after reels all year promoting this book that she's writing, and it sounds so good. Like, I think some of the reels that really stick out to me are her reels where she talks about how she gives like a one line premise of what the book is about, and then she like gives us like the aesthetics of what the book look like, and they just wrapped me in so bad it's not even funny. The book is basically about these six teenagers fighting in a deadly after school life, like they're dead, so it's in the afterlife. They're fighting in this magical school. That's all I know. It's these six teenagers in this Hunger Games style battle in this deadly school in the afterlife. A magic school. A magic school. Keep that in mind. Okay. It's just everything I love. And I'm not doing it justice. So I'm gonna pop up a picture of the premise right here on the screen so you can read it and see how cool it sounds and all the tropes in it as well. It just sounds so fun. It's like it's a combination of everything I love in a fantasy. Okay, she literally just put up every kind of plot I like in a fantasy and served it up in a book. And the aesthetics she uploads for it are just, I feel so drawn to this book. I've been watching her reels all year, and she's releasing a book next year in June or July. Cannot wait, honestly. Like, I know nothing about this author. It's her debut novel. I know nothing else. I just know these reels, and I'm like, I'm in. I'm sold. Fully, I'm in for it. So yeah, Immortal Consequences. That's a book I look forward to reading really, really, really soon. Again, highly anticipated. The next book is The Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. It's her new release coming in the spring, I think. Spring 2025 is what she said. Can't wait to read this either. I've read three books by her. One that I DNF'd, which I'm considering rereading and giving a second chance to, which is Peach Read. And then two other books that I really enjoyed. I loved Happy Place. Absolutely loved that book. And I really liked Funny Story as well. So I look forward to this new release by her. It's supposed to be very different from her usual books, is what I'm hearing. Again, don't know much about the plot, don't care to know enough. All I know that it's coming out, and I'm looking forward to it. Okay, another really exciting book that I'm looking forward to. We have Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson, and this is her first adult mystery thriller. Oh my god. If you know me, you know that I'm the biggest Holly Jackson fan. I devoured all her books. I love all her books. I've read all of them. She's the author who wrote the Good Girls trilogy, The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. She's coming out with her first adult mystery thrillers. All her other books so far have been young adult. Oh, I cannot wait for this. I adore her mysteries. I adore her mind so much. All her young adult novels can also get so dark at times that I'm not gonna lie, I have very high expectations for this. I'm expecting her to go to some really dark places. And the premise sounds so interesting too. As much as I can tell, it's about this woman who almost died, was almost killed, and the doctor has told her that she doesn't have a long time to live. Something like that. She doesn't have a lot of days left. And so she's spending her days figuring out her own murder, trying to figure out who tried to kill her. What a plot! Her mind always comes up with the most unique premises. Oh my god, I cannot wait to dive into this book. It sounds so interesting. I'm so excited for it. So, yeah, not quite dead yet. Another highly, highly, highly anticipated book for 2025. Next, we have Till Death by Busayu Matuluko. I hope I said that right. Once again, came across this book randomly on Instagram. I know nothing about the author. I don't know much about the book either apart from this prompt that I saw. It's another mystery. So yeah, that's another book that I can't wait to get to a new release for 2025. And that's all the new releases I have on my list. You guys, I just realized I completely forgot to talk about the most epic book, the most ever, that I'm anticipating for next year, which is the new Hunger Games novel, Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. Oh my god, what a shame. Shame on me. How could I forget? But that's also another book I'm looking forward to. Next year it comes out in March. God, I'm so excited. It's Haymitch's story. And Suzanne Collins, every time she puts out a book, she has a purpose in terms of what's going on in our world right now. So I just know this book is gonna hit. Oh my god, I'm so excited. And I'm excited for the movie as well, coming out in 2026. And also, another book I forgot to mention is A Theory of Dreaming. It's the sequel to A Study in Drowning. I read it this year and I absolutely fell in love with that book. So that's another book I'm anticipating for next year. I am going to be honest though, Study in Drowning was meant to be a standalone, and I think it's perfect as it is, as standalone. So I don't know why we're getting a sequel, what that book could possibly offer. So I am nervous about it. But at the same time, I'm curious as well. So that's another new release I look forward to next year. Now, books on my physical TBR, books that I have copies of that I can't wait to get to in the new year. Starting off with the Poppy War. I recently purchased the Poppy War. I've been looking forward to getting to this trilogy for the longest time. Finally purchased the first book. I know I probably won't be able to get to it this month, but January I'm definitely reading that. So I know for a fact that I'm going to get to this trilogy next month. Absolutely for sure. So can't wait to get into it. Can't wait to see what all the hype is about. This book has the craziest fan base and I want to be a part of it. So very, very, very much looking forward to reading The Poppy War. Again, I don't actually know much about it. I read the back of it as well, but it's really complicated to explain. So once I've read the book, I will give you a better summary of what the book is about. But it's a fantasy, political fantasy series once again. I think it's historical fiction as well, not sure. But that's what The Poppy War is about, and I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to read more Greek mythology retellings this year. I have Circe in my stand right now. I could get to it this month, but I probably will not, and I will get to it next month. So once I get to Circe, I just want to get to some other Greek myth retellings as well. So that's something I wish to expand on more. I used to always be into it and I lost touch with it until I read the Song of Achilles this year, which I absolutely loved. But yeah, looking forward to those next year as well. I want to get to more classics. I've read two this year. I read Rebecca earlier and I read The Great Gatsby right now in this month. So, looking forward to reading more classics in the next year for sure. I talked a little bit earlier this year about how I want to get back into classics. I lost touch with them eventually, and I want to get back into reading those. So, for next year, I have some books by Alexander Dumas as well. I have The Three Musketeers and The Count of Monte Cristo. I have a couple other books here, and then I also want to get back into books that I have read before. I want to read books like Little Women and Pride and Prejudice and all those other books as well. So that's something I hope to get to next year. And then some other books that I have some mysteries, adult mysteries. I have Lisa Jewell books, Sydney Sheldon, and two Dan Brown books that I haven't gotten to yet. I would have gotten to them this year, honestly, but I don't know how this happened. My favorite genre of reading is fantasy. I've always prided myself about that. It's always been fantasy for me. But somehow this year I've read more of mysteries, which again, I love mysteries. I'm a full on mystery girl. But somehow I've read a ton of mystery this year and very little of fantasy, and I'm craving more fantasy right now. And in the last couple of months I've kind of slowed down on the mysteries because it's been a little too much mystery and I'm a little tired of it, which is why I haven't gotten to those books. I would have gotten to them earlier otherwise. I am excited to get to the Dan Brown and Sidney Sheldon books. I'm a huge fan of both, and I'm excited to get into Lisa Jewell. I haven't read her books, but I have two of them on me. I have None of This Is True, and I have Then She Was Gone. So I look forward to reading all of those in the next year, definitely. Now for some series that I wish to complete. I recently finished the third book in the Off Campus series. I'll review it later. And I'm not going to read the fourth book because it's an accidental pregnancy plot, and I'm not a fan of pregnancy or accidental pregnancy plots at all. Like, I cannot stomach them. So I won't be reading the fourth book. I'll be skipping directly to the novella Bind Up, the fifth book, The Legacy, and finishing off that series, plus all the other books in the Briar U universe I want to get to. So that's something definitely on my list, completing the L. Kennedy universe books. Another series I want to finish or at least attempt to move forward in is the Mile High. That series, I don't know if the series has a name, but I read the Mile High in November. I discussed it in my review, in my wrap up. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I want to read The Right Move. I want to get to it, so that's something I hopefully will get to in the new year, and if I like it, I will continue the series. And another series I can't wait to complete in the next year is the Heartstopper series. Oh my god, I have read up till volume 3 so far. Absolutely crazily obsessed with that series. Again, I talked about it in my November wrap up, but I can't wait to finish that off in the next year. Then some other authors that I really want to get to. Olivia Blake. I've been looking forward to picking up her books this entire year, and I haven't been able to. Oh my god, I wish I could. But 2025 is the year. I'm coming for it. I'm coming for you, Olivia Blake. I'm getting to all the books. The books I especially want to start with are the Atlas 6 trilogy, that one, and I also want to read One for My Enemy. Those are the two books I definitely want to start off with, and I damn sure I'm gonna get to them in the next year. Another book I really want to get to next year is The Light That Blinds Us by Andy Darcy Theo. I don't know how to pronounce it. But again, this is another Instagrammer, content creator I follow on Instagram, who makes a lot of content around books, and then he also wrote his own book. It's another fantasy series, and he says the book is perfect for fans of Percy Jackson and Six of Crows, and I'm obsessed with both. So it feels like the right kind of book for me, and I really wanted to get to it this year. It released this year, but it was really expensive. But next year I'm definitely getting to it, especially because the second book in the series is coming out next year as well. So hopefully I'll get to both of them together in the new year. But yeah, next year I am getting to it. I'm still so hyped for that book, even though it's already released. But that's a book I hope to get to next year. A new author I want to get to is Mary McFarlane. I've been intrigued by her books already because Haley Pham has talked highly about them. But also, one of my closest friends recently started reading all her books, and she's like obsessed with them, like truly obsessed with them. And now I'm so curious and so intrigued, and I want to join in on her excitement for these books. So I'm definitely getting to them next month for sure. Absolutely, definitely have to get to them. Another author I want to get into is V.E. Schwab. I don't know how, as a fantasy reader, I still haven't gotten to her, but V.E. Schwab, the books, I hear only incredible things all the time. Cannot wait. On a similar note, Brandon Sanderson, haven't gotten to his books yet. A fantasy reader, never read a Brandon Sando. High time. It is high time that I get into his book. So in 2025, I am gonna be there. Speaking of fantasy, a duology I really want to read next year is a Dance of Thieves duology, Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves. I have been waiting. I feel like those books just sit in my cart all the time and I never purchase them. And I've had it. I've had it with myself. 2025, I am buying them come hell or high water. Other new authors I want to start in the next year are Stephen King. How have I never read a Stephen King novel? Want to get to that. Abby Jimenez. I already have a book by Abby Jimenez on my TBR. So Abby Jimenez is definitely a sure shot in for me for the next year. So Abby Jimenez and Stephen King are also authors I want to get to next year. Apart from that, some genres I'm really looking forward to reading next year are, of course, fantasy. I want to get back and deep into fantasy. I haven't read as much as I would have liked this year, but next year is going to be my fantasy year for sure. And dark academia. I read two dark academia books this year, and I realized that it's a genre that I really like, and it's like meant for me. So dark academia, oh my god, I have so many great recommendations in my cart right now, especially because of Carrie Can Read. She has the best dark academia recommendations ever. So I can't wait to make my way through those as well in the next year. And lastly, this year I have explored a lot of new authors, like a lot. I think this year I've expanded into new authors more than I ever have. I've read a ton of new authors and I've liked a lot of them. So I want to get deeper into their catalogs. I've read like one book or one series by each of these new authors I've discovered, and I want to get deeper into their works. So authors like R.F. Kuang and Eva Reid, all these brilliant authors that I discovered this year, I want to read more of their books and I hope to get to them in the next year. So yeah, those are all the books I look forward to reading in 2025. Lots of new releases, lots from my TBR, some authors I want to discover. Lots of great books, honestly. I just feel so excited about all the books I'm going to get to consume next year. Like all these beautiful stories I know that are waiting for me in the next year. What a feeling to look forward to. Those are all the books I look forward to reading next year. Let me know if you have any of these on your list, or if from hearing from my list, if like you just heard everything I'm into, and if you feel like you have something to recommend to me that matches my taste for the new year, let me know, because I'm building, as you can see, this is my diary. I am like actively building a list of all the books I want to get to and the books that are my priority. So if you feel like there should be a book in there that matches the vibe of what I like, let me know. I'll happily add to it. Those are all the books I had to discuss, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, not much else to say. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.